So hello friends, good morning. So I think we should start now. It's 11 o'clock. So let's start our session. And there are three small guidelines. If you want to ask a question, looking at this just 30 minutes shorter time, we are not in position to answer as many as questions. So what I request is please put your question in a chat box along with your mobile number. So Mr. Parimal Marathe of Progressive will be able to reply to you individually using your mobile number and using your question. So let's start our session. So we have done a few sessions. So I will be sharing my PowerPoint and then we'll start with that. Please follow the whatever I said. That please post your questions in the chat box along with your number. So will be replied subsequently by Mr. Parimal Marathe and our team. Right. So let's start our today's session. So I will be sharing my screen and we will proceed with that. So let's start our session. So we have taken one session on this same similar subject. So I'm still admitting the people, so there will be little disturbance in first 5 minutes. Please bear with that. So we expert too. We are taking one session, various sessions for our students as we want to become a great. So for senior people like us, we call it as a we expert. So this is second session in the same series. So let's move ahead. So today we'll be going to talk about the part of project control is cost control, and my name is Santosh Devdar. I will be your presenter and facilitator as well. So for those who are joined first time, this is my short introduction. So I'm basically a civil engineer with DIM and MBA to my credit. I'm in this industry for last 31 years. Office 24 years, I worked with various companies of repute, and last 7 years, I'm actually trying to become a self-employed person. I will not say as a business, I'm saying self-employment. And I'm attached to SPJIMR also as an adjunct faculty for their various management programs. Right. Plus, I do a lot of things. Basically, I do design management, cost management, and I'm very interested in doing a lot of consultancy works to resorts, hotels, and residential buildings, covering almost all sectors of real estate business, almost all sectors of construction business, you can say, it's better to say. Then, along with that, I'm passionate about so many things. I like to make environmental documentary films. I got certain awards for that, some recognition for doing so, and at international level as well as national level. I generally have given a few phone-in interviews at IBN Lokmat or Sahyadri or G24 stars like that. You might have read my articles in March Times, Lok Satta, Sakal, wherever they come across. So that's a small passion. So that passions keep me moving. So let's move to main subject. So in this model, basically we'll try to cover what is project cost, why it is important, how to find it out, and how to control it. So this will be general pointers we'll try to follow. Just as a revision, just give me a second, people are joining. So just give me. So as a revision, we have seen in the first session, which are the various parameters which helps us to make a project successful. So what are those parameters, what we have seen in the first session? As a just cursory revision, I'm getting into that. So whatever we have seen, this is what we see what project is. Basically, project is a sequence of operations controlled by set of performance parameters, and that too a predefined sequence. We start from a point start, we follow various steps, and we reach to a target and goal. So this is what, in short, what project is. So whenever I say project, this sort of image comes in my mind, this type of presentation comes in my mind. Don't forget, it's a predefined sequence of actions, and there is a performance measurement of at every level to evolve or to evaluate what sort of actions we have taken and what are the errors coming into that, and by solving those errors, how we are going to achieve our target. So this is what mean by project to us. So then what parameters govern this success? When I say performance parameter, we need to understand what are those parameters which are going to make our project successful. So these are simple parameters: expertise or skill sets available with you or with your company or whatever you are hired to reach a given set of target. what are different ways to reach it? I mean, how you plan the activities? What are different possible shortcuts, possible short routes to achieve the success, and time to reach? How much quickly and how much essentially quickly or sensible quickly you are able to manage your time to reach the project? And finally, not to forget is how much money is there available with you in your kitty, which will make you to reach to this success, or which will make you to get back, or which will make you to complete this project. So these are the parameters what you have seen last time. So let's today we'll focus more on cost to reach factor. Okay, so let's differentiate between three important concepts in any project management. One is value, price, and cost. Many times unknowingly we make confusion, and we mix our thoughts between these three. So value is basically to your customer, or value is basically to a uh, user who has brought the property or who has contracted you for offering some service. It's a basical usefulness of a product to a customer. Of course, this will vary from customer to customer, and the value or the utility of a good or a service is very important for a customer point of view. Second important thing is price. For getting this value of a product, how much money that customer is going to pay to you. That means in this case, just give me a second. People are still joining. Just give me a second. So in this case, what is happening is whatever as a developer or as a contractor, whatever we are constructing. So what is that price? What customer will be ready to pay to us to avail our service and to buy and avail our service? So this is a price part of it. Third part is a cost, which is an input cost, which is a cost we as a developer or we as a contractor are anticipating or paying or expensing to complete a project, to so that we can sell it at a given price and for a given value. So these are three different concepts. And whenever we say, please mute yourself. So whenever we talk about cost control, it is very essential to understand this difference. Why? Let's see that now. Okay, so there are three scenarios I've just put up for our knowledge. So activity say value, price, and cost. When I say activity value, in scenario one, when the value to a customer is going up, so customer is finding more and more value proposition in your product. In that case, price of that product may go up or may not go up. It depends on the so many other factors, but cost will definitely go up. If you're looking for a neutral value in the sense, we are making suppose if apartment building in one place where there are so many competitors around us who are also making similar products. So my value or facilities I'm giving to my customer are neutral, means I'm making no differentiation with respect to what others are following. Then in that case, I can say value to customer is possibly neutral. And in that case, price may be neutral, or to fight with the competition, I have to reduce the price. And this will have a great impact on my cost. My cost can be neutral, cost I have to get it down to fight the competition. And scenario three is when I'm absolutely out of sync up with the market. So value I don't care. Price then definitely will go down and cost will also go down. So these are the three basic important scenarios which decide upon the cost of my project, which I need to control today. That is definitely depending upon the value which my customer will get from my product, how I will be different and similar with the similar products of the market, similar competitors in my area, then how my price will be sensible. I will explain what I mean by sensible price. Sensible price, how much the customer will be able to bear. And for doing that, how much the cost, input cost I'm going to do. So of course, as I said here, depends upon the product life stage. So for us, it's developer or contractor, the brand name, life of the company, number of the projects successfully completed and handed over with minimum defects. All these things will add value to my product. My competitors, demand supply analysis. Unless we are sure of all this, it is very difficult to estimate cost. If you estimate the cost without understanding the demand supply analysis and without understanding our product offering as a value to the customer, whatever costing we do is just like a guesstimate. It is just somebody's morning good, more early morning dream that I will complete this project in 1,000 rupees per square feet. Without understanding it, what is that going to what is that I will require to put into the project for doing that. So this will be very sensible part of it. So unless we do this, it will be very difficult to find the cost of the project, because cost of the project is governed by all these factors, value and price. So how we determine? So value is, of course, as I said, as a summary slide, is a user's perspective, price is customer perspective, and cost is manufacturer perspective. So all the perspectives are different, but all are linked together at whatever I have seen. So in market variation condition on value, suppose like a current situation, market is changing very drastically. So on value, there will be very less impact, but customer will be always demanding what he has looked for. But price, definitely there will be impact. Since price, there is an impact, but there is a least impact probably on value to customer or value to customer, then, but the cost definitely going to have an impact. So unless we solve this three pointer problem, we possibly will not be able to estimate the right price, right cost to this project, and then the right price to the project, and then right value to the customer. So we have to go reverse. First establish the value, then find out at what price it is possible to give, compare with the market conditions, and then find out the cost. This is a very fundamental exercise we have to do. So moving ahead, so we are at fix because customer demands are definitely going up for value, more and more value additions, irrespective of price and trouble in market. So they will always going to demand more. And with the time to come, they are going to demand more and more and more. There will be no stoppage to this. And with all digitization and all the data available on fingertip, many times customer will come with so many different sorts of demands, which are sometimes become very difficult to satisfy as well. But that is a scenario we are in today. But the prices are to become sensible. Means prices will have a direct connection with the value whatever you are offering. So value parameters, how to find a value, how to identify value, how to find it is a different, altogether different exercise, of course, which we can do it as a separate part, but prices are going to become sensible. The type of value customer is going to get from your product, the price will change, price will be sensible. And we will not be able to quote premiums, we will not be able to quote premiums for a given product. And since price is becoming sensible, costs are also become sensible. Of course, today no one can predict where we are heading for. Rather, it will always remain unpredictable and not in our control. But yes, we can definitely control the cost, which is called as inputs cost. So what is the sort of cost control? So let us explore that cost control in more details now. So what is the process to estimate a cost for a given project? Let us understand the process. First is decide who is customer. So days are gone where we first build and then try to sell. Days are there, first you find a customer. And if customer is there and if our project is able to satisfy aspirations within our cost structure, price and cost structure, then and then only projects are feasible and projects should be done. So days are very different. We have to change our thinking process altogether. Decide then, once we understand who is my customer, please mute yourself. Once we understand who is my customer, we decide the product details and specifications. So once we decide the customer, then we decide upon the product details and specifications. Then comes the very important method, product delivery methods. How we are going to construct this building or how we are going to build this building. There are various types of contracting models available, and every contracting model has got different impact on the cost. So in-house model, PMC model, design management model, architect model, cost plus model, per square feet model, turnkey model, barter model. There are so many models available derived based upon the conditions, market conditions. But unless we decide that, I cannot estimate really how my cost is going to be, because product delivery model is having an impact on cost structure. Next is cost center as every project. Basically consider every project of yours as a different identity. Don't mess up all these costs together and then try to find out what things are gone where. So please take every project as different cost center. Then find out the estimated cost of your project, which I said hard cost plus soft cost. So hard cost and soft cost is very necessary to find it out. Hard cost means it's a real input cost which is directly getting into the project for building your permanent structures and the necessary site infrastructure costs to build your project. And when I say soft cost, it's a cost of all your consultants, cost of your administration, cost of your office, cost of your transportation, cost of site labor accommodation, and all those things will come under soft cost. Then third cost will come as your finance cost. We are getting money from market. So what is that money you are going to get from market? And at what rate Is it debt finance? Is equity finance? Coming at what rate? That is very crucial to establish at this stage, because depending upon the returns from your project, what you're estimating, your rate which you can offer, which your project can bear for getting the finance will directly depending on that. So how much return, how much returns are expected from your project, and how you are, then that will decide the how much rate or how much debt repayment or debt servicing charges your company can bear. Its direct relation is there. So we have to establish that relation as a part of this my cost plan, or as a part of my estimated cost of project. Once I do this, I will do the budget for the project. So once you do project budget, next will be estimate the rate of return, as I already said, and monitor the deviations throughout the project life cycle. Estimating rate of return is equal to the average, should be equal to your average cost of working capital. Very simple financial principle. Then divide estimated costs into the milestones of your project, and then live tracking of milestones beyond deviations allowed. So when you make a budget, there are certain deviations you will allow to happen, maybe 3%, 4%, 1%, whatever, based upon your working style. So when you divide a cost into milestones on regular intervals, I have to monitor the deviations, and whenever deviations are happening beyond the certain allowed deviations, we have to track it. We have to find it out, do the root cause analysis, and find the reasons behind this causing this error, and try to find it out. Try to come back to the main stage. The negotiation skills and priority. This is very important set. What happens is that we have at least 20-25 outside agencies working for our project. So it becomes just a mistake. Let me admit people. So what happens is that as a developer or as a contractor, we negotiate very hard with everybody. So with whom to negotiate hard and with whom to negotiate, depending, that really depends upon the, since people are joining wait. So that really depends upon our skill set. I will give one example here. Suppose you are appointing a consultant. Consultant has got only one cash flow. His amount, whatever he's quoting, is just only for one service or multiple of service. So how much level you should negotiate with him? And if you negotiate very hard, he will reduce the price. There is no doubt about it, because everybody wants work. But where you will get it, nobody will be able to tell you. If you negotiating with contractor, you are fully aware that as per current GST regime and all that, most of the inputs cost for a contractor are fixed except for his indirect cost. So how to negotiate is also becomes very important factor while deciding upon any cost or any contractor or any consultant for a project. See, we cannot discuss everything in 5 minutes. I'm just giving you links and hints where we struggle and where we go wrong. So contractor has got a very many items for his work. So how to negotiate with him is a different skill set, and how to negotiate with a consultant also is a different skill set. So please understand the difference between two, and then try to negotiate and allow the priority to negotiation. So this makes big difference. Then budget preparation, tracking, and then appropriation. So once you make a budget, you will find that few of the work items will have some surplus money in the budget after making payments also. Some of your work items, some of your budget items may not have money. There may be deficit in the money. So in that case, how to appropriate, or how to appropriate, I'm muting everybody, please don't unmute yourself. So how to appropriate the funds available in your budget to different heads, that also is very important. So you have to track all these changes. Then and then only something will happen. So let's move to next slide. So I'm not talking about the RERA system here, because it's an accounting requirement. Of course, it has got some impact on my budgeting and my project level cash flows. But today I'm not talking of that. We can discuss that at some other time. So let's move ahead. So challenges faced. This is a very different, whatever I've experienced in last 30 years, wherever we face challenges in making budget and controlling costs. Let's see one by one. So we are not clear on the scope of the work. We start the project without deciding, as I explained in the earlier slides, without finding out who is my customer, and without identifying what really I am going to build in a project to a minor details. If you look at the many successful projects, you will find that the scope of the work is defined till the last nail of the project. If you are able to define to that extent, then I'm able to control my cost in a better way. Next point is who is, as I said, project delivery method. How I'm going to operate. Suppose I'm building a very big project of say 1,000 crores. 1% change in project changes my cost by 10 crores directly. So how I'm going to operate the project makes very big thing. Suppose there are subcontractors, nominated subcontractors, or different work packages. How I'm going to handle all that will change your cost structure of your project. So we don't decide all that and we just start doing the things. Next factor is who is responsible for design. This is basically happens in case of design build contracts. If the contract is given on design build basis, how the design will be closed, how design will be chosen, and at what cost, that sometimes lacks. Then who is basically what happens at a site visit, everybody starts giving instructions. So people working at site, they get confused whom to follow and whom not to follow. So there need to be a proper protocol who will instruct and who will control the project. So that becomes program is not clear. Today we say आज ये foundation करो, कल बोलते हैं नहीं नहीं मत करो वो करो, परसों बोलेंगे don't cast the slab. One day somebody will come and say why are you not casting the slab? So there are all confusion. So there has to be a clear program and which needs to be followed by everybody, including client, including developer also. And this is a very important thing. That next point is not clear with what to share with site in charge. Many places I have seen that site in charge at site working from say developer side, he is having work order copy without rates and amounts. So you tell me, without knowing the exact amount to be put on the quoted for that particular activity, how you expect him to control the cost and control the quantities? So this unnecessary secrecy doesn't make any sense. So data has to be properly shared with your site in charge. I agree, you will not share it with your site supervisor or you will not share with your site engineers, but a senior person who is controlling your entire site, you should be given a proper data about the contractor. So many times I have seen work order is given, but an entire portion of rates and amount is hidden. It is not there. So how we will feel encouraged, or how we will feel that he is working for the company? So such a untrust doesn't work in long run. So how to find extra items and cost variation also is not known to site in charge, because he doesn't know what is the rate agreed, what is the amount agreed. So this again impact my costs. So how payment is to be made? So complicated payment terms. All the time when contractor raises a bill, there will be so many questions raised, and there is no standardized system or process for making a payment. So this is complicated systems create more confusions and costs. Records. So bill process, I said same thing, is not clear. So what records are required to be kept at site is also kept for guessing. Quality control measures. So quality controls will decide, will of course not going to increase your cost in long run, but quality controls will definitely help you to adopt to a proper material and adopt to a proper work methodology adaptable to the product what you are going to develop. So unless it is properly worked out, we are not sure how the cost is going to be controlled. So whenever cost cutting measure happens, sometimes people cut the quality of the product, or sometimes they cut the quality of material what they are going to use. So there what is happening at the end of the day is you are sacrificing or you are compromising on the product ultimately what you are going to offer to your customer. So these quality norms or whatever product norms are necessary to adopt. So here we have to keep in mind value engineering and cost cutting both are different parameters. So how they are different, we can discuss. I can give small hint. So value engineering will definitely say reduce a cost or try to appropriate the cost of those elements which can be repaired or which can be changed tomorrow very easily. But cost cutting is you just cut the cost top and down without thinking how that is going to impact my project performance. So this is a difference. We need to understand this difference while doing the cost control. So next, I think there are 5 minutes left. Okay, no problem. So next is dispute resolution conditions. How we are going to resolve the disputes arising in the project needs to be properly defined. Otherwise, contractor who is working at site keeps on raising the claims, keeps on writing the letters to the developer कि मुझे ये तकलीफ है, मुझे atom का rate दे दो, my payments are delayed, my atom is not covering this, my material what you ask is not available in market, and nobody is replying from the client side. And one day, one fine morning, contractor comes and says, boss, I'm going to close this site from tomorrow onwards. And then we start working into firefighting mode. So please avoid these. These are all sensible things, looks very small, but ultimately they're going to impact your cost of the project. Then liquidated damages is a very big thing. Many people don't know how to put that clause and how to operate that clause. And so this is just simple, some 7-8 things I've said. They are basically, this is like a putting the things below carpet, and many times they will burst up and they will increase your cost of a project. So challenges, I'm just summarizing what we should do now is, first find the market demand, customer demands. Try to prepare proper design briefs for all disciplines. Suppose I'm building a affordable housing and I'm building a luxury apartment. The design briefs will be definitely different. Sizes are different, materials are different, specifications are different, requirements are different. I'm building a hotel and I'm building a hospital. My design briefs will be 100% different. I'm building a commercial project and I'm building a mall project. My design briefs are different. Please understand these differences and try to create design briefs and start a project. As a owner, as a developer, I will say that just don't give one land parcel drawing to architect and say you make a project of residential building. Architect is also confused. He doesn't know what is to be done. And then you end up into 10 and 12 revisions of a drawing. So better you give your design brief that yes, this is land parcel. And as a developer, we are looking to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, concluding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things. And then as an architect, he is in better position to give you more value addition to your thought process. So his work is also reduced. Your project design also done in very quick time. So follow this practice. Then authority approvals are absolutely beyond our controls. So which authority approvals are going to impact my cost? Severity of impact needs to be evaluated. Like fire approval, MOF approval, solid waste management approval. This needs to be captured without fail in the design brief. Then construction methodology and execution ability. Many times we go with modern technologies and then we find that the skill set available or manpower available is not there. So then it becomes futile exercise or costs go up. Project budgets considered as secrets. As I said many times, site engineer or site in charge is not shared with the details. How can you work on this? So don't consider them secrets beyond certain time. Consider the availability of people is there in your company to do all these things. Then timeline of your project, and not to forget is believe on your people and their abilities. You have recruited them, you have selected them, so you have to give them space to perform. You have to believe on them so they will feel that they're part and parcel of your company, and then only they will able to perform. So allow them in the exercise of making budget. Then you will see that change is there, you are able to control cost, right? So finally, what I will say is painful 70% is equal to happy, productive, and beneficial 30%. Means spend 70% of, it's a very famous quote, 70-30 principles for any project. Put 70% of your time in properly designing it, properly making a budget, properly making a cost structure of your project. And then whenever you will execute the project, use just 30% of your entire project time in execution. So if you do this, possibly projects will be successful. So there are various ways to control the cost. So today I've just given a brief about how can we control the cost and which are the theoretical or which are the changes we need to bring in our thought process so that this enemy of cost control will be in our hand. So way forward, it's just simple like this. Formulate a company process, derive the process for making a budget, formulate task teams and not groups, form a team of a people who will be able to identify and will be able to do this kind of a thing. Decide targets for a company to follow, work closely together, avoid unnecessary secrecy in the system, and look out for expert advice. Everybody in the world is not fully aware of everything. So look out for experts, they will give you proper advice, and create learning environment in a company so that you will be able to judge the cost right way and able to control the cost in much better way. So ultimately you have to bring credibility, accountability in your people, and hence motivations. So finally will result in the cost control and cost saving for your company. So purposely today I have not gone into the all systems of doing it because they are putting an Excel sheet down and making a cost estimate and giving you percentages and all that is very simple. It's just an analytical part of it. But I thought it is very interesting and very important to understand the framework behind this. If we know the framework, then analysis is very simple. Rather very simple as compared to the framework. So when you're aware this is the way we are going to follow for cost control, then analytical part will come to our help and will be our handy thing for us. So purposely today I have not gone into all Excel sheets and all that, and I have not got to talk about figures today. I talked about the background, why we need this and how we can do this. So this was my thought process today to do all this thing. So still somebody joining, so let him allow. So okay. So with this, I think we'll stop. Time is also running out. In case you have any questions, I said in the earlier thing, please put in your chat box with your mobile number so that people from Progressive Expert Parimal sir or Sujit will be able to connect to you and will try to answer all your questions independently. Okay, thank you so much. Time is just now 1 minute left. So we'll conclude our session today. Hope we got some theoretical, not theoretical, I will say some logical background how to do cost control and try to apply it, and let's see how things can fold out tomorrow. Thank you very much for joining and sparing your precious time with us, spending precious time with us. Thank you so much.